The amber eyes come first. Not the pain screaming through Myra's ribs, not the copper taste flooding her mouth, not even the acrid smoke pouring through the crumpled dashboard, just those eyes, impossibly bright against the swirling white of the blizzard, watching her through the spiderwebbed windshield. Myra blinks. Blood runs into her left eye. The world tilts sideways because her Jeep is sideways, wrapped around a pine tree like discarded foil, and she can't feel her legs. The eyes don't blink. They belong to something huge. Something that shouldn't exist. Through the fractured glass and billowing steam from the shattered radiator, Myra sees silver fur, massive shoulders, a muzzle full of teeth that could crack her skull like an eggshell. A wolf. But not a wolf. Too big. Way too big. Her photography instincts kick in even as her body shuts down, her mind cataloging details with detached precision. 6 feet at the shoulder, minimum. Coat like liquid mercury. Eyes that catch the failing daylight like coins at the bottom of a well. Then a second shape moves behind it. Darker. A shadow made solid. Midnight black fur, even larger than the silver. 2 wolves, watching her die. Myra tries to reach for her camera, stupid, her brain screams, "You're dying," but her arm won't cooperate. The smoke is getting thicker. Something under the hood pops and hisses, and she smells gasoline. The silver wolf moves. It lunges forward, and Myra's last coherent thought is that at least being eaten is faster than burning alive. But instead of teeth in her throat, she feels a savage yank on her jacket collar. The wolf has her, dragging her through the driver's side window that no longer exists, pulling her across broken glass and twisted metal with impossible strength. She screams, or tries to. Only a wet gurgle comes out. The black wolf appears on her other side, its jaws closing around her boot, and together they haul her away from the wreckage like she weighs nothing at all. 10 feet. 20. The world is spinning, white and red and gray. Behind them, the Jeep ignites with a whump that Myra feels in her chest. The wolves don't stop. They pull her through the snow, leaving a scarlet trail, until the heat fades and there's only cold. So cold. Myra's vision tunnels. The silver wolf releases her jacket and moves into her shrinking field of view, and then it's not a wolf. It's a man. Tall. Broad-shouldered. Dark hair plastered to his skull by snow, steam rising from his bare skin despite the blizzard. A face all hard angles and old scars, and those same amber eyes staring down at her with an intensity that pins her to the ground more effectively than her injuries. "Stay with me," he says, his voice rough as gravel. "Don't you dare check out." Myra wants to tell him that she photographs wildlife, that she knows wolves don't do this, that men don't do that, but the darkness swallows her whole before she can form the words. Warmth. That's the first thing Myra registers when consciousness creeps back. Warmth, and the smell of wood smoke and something herbal. Chamomile, maybe. Her grandmother used to make tea that smelled like this. She tries to move and immediately regrets it. Pain detonates through her ribs, her shoulder, down her right leg. A sound escapes her, half gasp, half whimper. Easy. The voice comes from her left. Deep. Familiar in a way that makes her pulse spike. Myra forces her eyes open. Wooden ceiling beams. Stone fireplace. A cabin, small but solid, with pelts on the walls and furniture that looks hand-hewn. She's on a bed, not hers, covered in quilts that smell like cedar. And sitting in a chair beside her, watching her with those impossible amber eyes, is the man from the crash. He's dressed now, thank God. Flannel shirt, dark jeans, boots. His hair is the color of smoke, shot through with silver at the temples even though he can't be much past 35. A scar runs from his left eyebrow into his hairline. Another cuts across his jaw. "You," Myra croaks. Her throat feels lined with sandpaper. "Me." He leans forward, elbows on his knees. "How do you feel?" "Like I wrapped my car around a tree." She tries to sit up. He doesn't move to help her, but his eyes track every painful inch of her progress. Where am I? My cabin. About 6 miles from where you crashed. He nods toward a window where snow still falls in thick curtains. Storm's not letting up. You're stuck here until it does. 6 miles. Through a blizzard. While she was unconscious and probably bleeding out. Myra's gaze drops to her body, cataloging the damage. Her right leg is splinted and wrapped. Bandages wind around her ribs under an oversized thermal shirt that definitely isn't hers. Her left arm is in a makeshift sling. Professional work. Too professional for a random Good Samaritan. You're a doctor. Ranger, he corrects. Park Service. But we get certified in field medicine. Comes with the territory. Ranger. Right. That almost makes sense. Except for the part where. The wolves, Mira says, watching him carefully. There were 2 wolves. They pulled me out of the car. Something flickers in his eyes. You were in shock. Lost a lot of blood. The mind plays tricks. My mind didn't imagine the Jeep exploding. Or you carrying me. She pauses. What's your name? Kieran. He sits back, putting distance between them. Kieran Thorne. Mira Chen. She's still watching him, looking for tells. Her photography work taught her to see what people try to hide, the tension in a jaw, the way eyes slide away from truth. Kieran doesn't slide. He meets her gaze straight on, which somehow makes her more certain he's lying. How did you find me? I heard the crash. Came to investigate. In a blizzard. 6 miles from here. I was already in the area. His tone doesn't invite further questions. You're lucky I was. Lucky. Mira supposes that's one word for it. She shifts, testing her injuries, and spots something on the table beside the bed. Her camera. Her beautiful, expensive, supposedly indestructible Canon, covered in dents and scratches but miraculously intact. She reaches for it with her good hand. Kieran doesn't stop her. The camera powers on. The screen flickers, and Myra's heart sinks. Water damage, probably, or maybe the cold, but then the last photos she took load into view. She'd been shooting the landscape before the crash. White mountains against white sky, the kind of shots that would never sell but that she took anyway because sometimes you photograph beauty for its own sake. But the last 3 frames. Myra's breath catches. Tracks in the snow. Wolf tracks. She'd stopped to photograph them because they were unusually large and clear, perfect specimens for her portfolio. Except they're not unusually large. They're impossible. Each print is the size of her hand. Bigger. The stride length suggests something that would stand eye to eye with a draft horse. Mira knows wolf tracks. She's photographed them from Alaska to Montana, and she's never seen anything like this. Tricks of perspective, Kieran says quietly. He's watching her again with that unnerving intensity. Snow drifts, angle of the shot. It happens. Mira zooms in on the photo. The tracks are crisp, no distortion. She knows exactly what focal length she used, knows the distance. The math doesn't lie. She looks up at Kieran. He hasn't moved, but somehow he seems larger, more present. The cabin feels smaller. What did I really see out there? Mira asks. You saw me pull you from a burning car. That's all. And the wolves? There are wolves in these mountains. Plenty of them. Not like that. Kieran stands, and Mira instinctively presses back into the pillows despite the pain it causes. He's not threatening her, not overtly, but there's something predatory in the way he moves, all controlled power and coiled muscle. You should rest, he says. You lost a lot of blood. Cracked ribs, dislocated shoulder, compound fracture in your right tibia. You're going to hurt for a while. He moves toward the fireplace, putting his back to her, and Mira feels like she can breathe again. She doesn't understand her reaction to him. Part of it is fear, she's injured, isolated, dependent on a stranger. But part of it is something else. Something that makes her pulse race for reasons that have nothing to do with terror. Outside, the wind howls. Snow batters the windows. And somewhere in that white wilderness, Mira sees movement. Just a flicker, dark against pale. She can't make out details through the storm, but she knows, that something is out there. Watching. Kieran's head snaps toward the window. For just a second, his expression shifts into something feral, almost angry. Then it's gone, hidden behind that ranger's mask. What is it? Mira asks. Nothing. But his jaw is tight. Storm's getting worse. You should eat something. Keep your strength up. He moves into the cabin's small kitchen area, pulling out supplies. Mira watches him work, watches the way firelight catches on his scars, watches how his hands move with the kind of efficiency that comes from years of practice. Her camera still rests in her lap, the impossible tracks glowing on the screen. Outside, the dark shape moves again, closer now. Mira's not imagining it. Something is circling the cabin, pacing through the storm like it owns these mountains. Like it's waiting. Kieran, she says softly. He doesn't turn around. Rest, Mira. We've got time. But Mira's not sure they do. She's not sure what's happening here, in this cabin in the middle of nowhere with a man who says he's a ranger but moves like something wild. She's not sure about the wolves that were too big, or the eyes that changed from beast to human, or the shadow that won't stop watching. What she is sure of is that when the storm ends, if it ends, she's not going to like the answers. The photograph on her camera screen seems to pulse in the dimness. Not tricks of perspective. Not possible. Real. Wanting to see what would happen next, subscribe to this channel to get to listen to more of our upcoming exciting stories. Click on the subscribe button now. Thank you. Chapter 2. 3 days trapped in the cabin, and Mira is starting to lose her mind. Not from the pain, though her ribs still scream with every breath and her leg throbs in its splint like it has its own angry heartbeat. Not even from the isolation, though the storm continues to rage outside like the world has forgotten any other weather exists. No, what's driving her crazy is him. Kieran moves through the small space like a ghost, silent, efficient, always just out of reach. He brings her food she doesn't want, changes her bandages with hands that are surprisingly gentle, stokes the fire when it burns low. He does everything right, everything necessary. And he won't look at her. Not really. Not the way he did that first day, with those amber eyes boring into her like he could see straight through to her bones. Now he keeps his gaze carefully averted, his body angled away, like she's something dangerous he's trying not to provoke. It should be a relief. Instead, it makes Mira want to throw something at his head. I need to call someone, she says on the morning of day 4. She's managed to hobble to the small kitchen table, using a walking stick Kieran carved from a branch. Her shoulder still protests the movement, but the sling helps. My editor. My family. They'll be worried. Kieran doesn't turn from the stove where he's making what smells like venison stew. Phone lines are down. Tower's out too. Storm took out the infrastructure. You're telling me a park ranger doesn't have a satellite phone? Battery died. His tone is flat, brooking no argument. We wait out the storm. Mira grips the edge of the table. Every instinct she's honed over years of photographing dangerous wildlife is screaming at her that she's missing something. Predators don't act like Kieran, all that careful control, the constant awareness of her position relative to his, the way his whole body goes rigid when she moves too quickly. Predators either attack or ignore their prey. They don't avoid it. What are you afraid of? The question slips out before she can stop it. That makes him turn. Finally. His eyes meet hers, and Myra's breath catches because there it is again, that intensity, that weight of his attention that makes her feel pinned and exhilarated all at once. Heat floods her body in a way that has nothing to do with the fire crackling in the hearth. "I'm not afraid," Kieran says quietly. "I'm being careful." "Of what?" "You ask too many questions." "I'm a photographer. Asking questions is part of the job." Mira leans forward despite the protest from her ribs. "You pulled me from a burning car. You carried me 6 miles through a blizzard. You've spent 4 days taking care of me like it's the most natural thing in the world. But you won't tell me the truth about what I saw." Kieran's jaw tightens. In the morning light streaming through the window, Mira can see the scars that mark his skin more clearly. The one through his eyebrow. Another along his collarbone, disappearing under his flannel shirt. They're old, silvered with time, but brutal. Claw marks, maybe. Or teeth. "The truth," he says slowly, "is that you survived something you shouldn't have. That's enough." "Is it?" Mira reaches for her camera, which she's kept close like a talisman. She's been through the photos dozens of times, studying those impossible tracks, looking for rational explanations her scientific mind can accept. "Because I keep thinking about those wolves. How they work together. How one of them became you." "Shock," Kieran says, but there's no conviction in it. "Blood loss. My blood was fine when I took this." Mira turns the camera toward him, displaying the photograph. Not the tracks this time. She's scrolled back further, to a shot she barely remembers taking in those chaotic moments before the crash. 2 wolves. Silver and black, standing side by side at the edge of the tree line, watching her jeep approach. She must have seen them, raised the camera on instinct, clicked the shutter. The photographer's reflex never dies, even in crisis. But that's not what makes Kieran go absolutely still. It's the marking. On both wolves, in the exact same place, the left shoulder, a crescent moon shape in lighter fur. Distinctive. Unmistakable. "Where did you get that?" Kieran's voice has gone rough, dangerous. "I took it. Right before I crashed." Mira watches his reaction carefully. Funny thing about markings like that. They're usually genetic. Which means these wolves are related. Brothers, maybe. Kieran moves faster than she can track. One moment he's across the cabin, the next he's beside her, his hand closing around her wrist, not hard enough to hurt, but firm enough that her camera almost drops. His face is inches from hers, and Mira can feel the heat radiating off his skin, can smell pine and smoke and something wild she has no name for. "Don't," he says softly. "Don't dig into this." "Why not?" "Because some things are better left alone." But Mira Chen has never been good at leaving things alone. It's why she's good at her job, why she's won awards for photographs other people were too afraid or too sensible to take. She meets Kieran's gaze without flinching, even though her heart is hammering hard enough to make her injured ribs ache. "Show me your shoulder," she says. Kieran's pupils dilate. For a second, Mira thinks he might actually do it. His free hand twitches toward the buttons of his shirt. Then he releases her wrist and steps back like she's burned him. "Rest," he says. "You're still healing." He's gone before she can respond, shouldering into his heavy coat and disappearing out the cabin door into the snow. The cold rushes in, sharp and cleansing, before the door slams shut again. Mira sits in the sudden silence, her wrist tingling where he touched her, her whole body thrumming with an energy that feels both terrifying and exhilarating. Outside, a howl rises. Long and mournful, close enough that Mira feels it in her chest. Another answers it, higher pitched, from the opposite direction. They're circling. The fever hits that night. Mira wakes shivering despite the blankets piled on top of her, her skin alternating between ice and fire. Infection, maybe. Or just her body's delayed reaction to trauma. She tries to call for Kieran, but her voice won't work properly. Then the dreams take her. She's running through snow, but it's not hard. Her legs are strong, powerful, eating up the ground in great leaping strides. The world is sharper. She can smell the pine sap frozen in the trees, the rabbit hiding in its burrow 30 feet away, the deer that passed through hours ago. And she can smell him. Smoke and cedar and something darker, muskier. She follows the scent like a compass, running faster, until she sees the silver wolf ahead of her. He turns, those amber eyes finding her, and Mira realizes she's not human in this dream. She looks down and sees black paws, dark fur. She's the midnight wolf. The shadow to his light. The silver wolf approaches, and in the dream logic way these things work, she understands. They're pack. They're bound. They're brothers. Mira jerks awake to find Kieran beside the bed, pressing a cool cloth to her forehead. His face is tight with concern, the careful distance finally broken. "You were calling out," he says quietly. "Talking about wolves. There were 2 of you." Myra's voice is hoarse. "You and someone else. Both with the marking. Brothers." She reaches up, her hand finding his shoulder through his shirt, pressing where she knows the crescent moon should be. "Am I right?" Kieran doesn't answer. But he doesn't pull away either. Myra's fingers curl into the flannel. Even through the fever haze, she's aware of how solid he feels, how warm. How her body wants to pull him closer despite every rational thought screaming that this is dangerous, that she barely knows him, that something is deeply wrong here. "Let me see," she whispers. Kieran's hand covers hers. For a long moment, they stay frozen like that, her grip on his shoulder, his hand trapping hers in place, both of them breathing too hard. Then the door crashes open. Mira doesn't see Kieran move. 1 second he's beside her, the next he's across the cabin, positioning himself between her and the entrance. A growl rumbles from his chest, an actual growl, inhuman and warning. "Easy, brother." The voice that answers is smooth, amused. That's no way to greet family. The man who steps inside is beautiful in a way that makes Myra's fever-addled brain struggle to process. Tall like Kieran, but leaner, with black hair that falls past his shoulders and eyes that gleam like polished obsidian. He's dressed in dark clothes crusted with snow, and he moves with a liquid grace that makes Kieran's controlled movements look clumsy by comparison. But it's his smile that makes Myra's pulse spike. Sharp. Knowing. Dangerous. "Damon," Kieran says, and the word sounds like a curse. Kieran. Damon's gaze slides past his brother to land on Mira, and the weight of that attention is different from Kieran's but no less intense. "And this must be our little photographer. The one causing all the trouble. Get out." Now that's not very hospitable. Damon shrugs off his coat, scattering snow across the floor. "I've come all this way to meet her. The least you could do is introduce us properly. She's under my protection." "Your protection?" Damon laughs, and it's not a pleasant sound. "You really think you can claim this? After everything?" Mira struggles to sit up, her head spinning. "Someone want to tell me what's happening?" Both men turn to look at her, and the synchronicity of the movement is eerie. Same height. Same build beneath the different clothing. Same predatory focus, even if Kieran tries to hide it behind his ranger's mask. Brothers. She was right. "I'm Damon Thorne," the dark-haired man says, moving closer despite Kieran's warning growl. Kieran's younger brother. "And you must be Mira Chen, wildlife photographer, currently recovering from a rather spectacular car accident." His smile widens. "My condolences on the Jeep. And congratulations on surviving." "Stay away from her," Kieran snaps. "Or what? You'll throw me out?" Damon is at the foot of the bed now, and Mira can smell him, different from Kieran but equally intoxicating. Night-blooming flowers and ozone, like the air before a storm. She deserves to know the truth, brother. She's already seen too much. The truth? Mira looks between them. The family resemblance is there in the bone structure, the intensity of their gazes. But where Kieran is control, Damon is chaos. Fire and ice, standing in the same cabin, both watching her like she's the only thing that matters. It should terrify her. Instead, Mira feels drawn to both of them in a way that makes absolutely no sense. Her body recognizes something her mind refuses to accept, some pull, some magnetic force that has nothing to do with logic and everything to do with instinct. Show her, Damon says to Kieran. Show her what you are, or I will. This isn't the way. There is no other way. Not anymore. Damon's hand moves to his own shoulder, and in one fluid motion, he pulls his shirt aside. The crescent moon marking is there. Pale against his skin, exactly like it appeared on the black wolf in her photograph. Myra's breath stops. Damon's smile turns sharp. Your turn, brother. Kieran's hands curl into fists. For a long moment, Mira thinks he'll refuse. Then, slowly, he unbuttons his flannel shirt and shrugs it off his shoulders. The marking is identical. Same shape, same position, the silvered scar tissue forming a perfect crescent on his left shoulder. We're twins, Damon says conversationally, as if he's discussing the weather. Though Kieran likes to claim he's older by 3 minutes. As if that matters to wolves. Wolves. The word hangs in the air like smoke. That's impossible, Mira says, but she's staring at the markings, at the photographs still displayed on her camera, at the two men who are somehow the two creatures that saved her life. Is it? Damon moves closer, and this time Kieran doesn't stop him. You saw us, Mira. You know what we are. Your rational mind just doesn't want to accept it. Werewolves don't exist. We prefer shapeshifters. Better PR. Damon's grin is wicked. And we very much exist. You're living proof. Myra's hand moves to her bandaged ribs. She thinks about the impossible tracks, the wolves too large to be natural, the way Kieran moves like something not quite human. The pieces have been there all along, waiting for her to put them together. She just didn't want to see the picture they formed. This is insane, she whispers. This is real. Kieran's voice is quiet, resigned. And this is why you need to leave as soon as the storm breaks. Go back to your life. Forget you ever came to these mountains. Forget? Mira almost laughs. You saved my life. You turned from a wolf into a man right in front of me. You think I can just forget that? You have to. She can't. Damon sits on the edge of the bed, too close, close enough that Mira can feel the heat of his body through the blankets. And you know why, brother. You felt it. The pull. The bond. Kieran goes absolutely still. No. Yes. Damon's eyes find Myra's, and there's something hungry in them, something that makes her feel like prey and predator all at once. Tell me, little photographer. Do you feel it? The way your heart races when we're near? The way your body knows us even though your mind says it shouldn't? Mira wants to deny it. But she can feel it right now, that magnetic pull, doubled because both of them are here, surrounding her. It's like standing between two bonfires, feeling the heat from both sides, unable to step away. What's happening to me? She asks. Something that hasn't happened in 3 generations, Damon says. Something impossible and inevitable and absolutely terrifying. Damon, stop. She deserves the truth. Damon's voice cracks like a whip. We're her mates, Kieran. Both of us. The bond chose her, chose us, and you standing there pretending it's not happening won't change it. Mates. The word echoes in Myra's head, bringing with it a rush of understanding she doesn't want. She thinks of wolf packs, of alpha pairs, of bonds that run deeper than blood. She thinks of the dream where she ran beside the silver wolf, 2 halves of something whole. No, she says. That's not possible. You're brothers. I'm not, this isn't. It's rare, Kieran says quietly, finally. Twin alphas sharing a mate. It hasn't happened in our pack for almost a century. But the bond doesn't lie. And it doesn't care what we want, Damon adds. His hand hovers near hers on the blanket, not quite touching. Or what history lies between us. Mira looks between them. Kieran, standing rigid by the wall, his face carved from stone. Damon, too close, too intense, watching her like she's the answer to a question he's been asking his whole life. History, she asks. We haven't spoken in 5 years, Kieran says. There's a reason I'm out here alone, playing ranger in the middle of nowhere. And there's a reason I came back. Damon's gaze doesn't leave Mira. The bond called me. From 200 miles away, I felt it snap into place. I felt you, little photographer. Your fear, your pain, your presence in our territory like a beacon. Our territory, Kieran repeats, bitter. Last I checked, you gave up any claim to this pack. I gave up nothing. You drove me out. You made your choices. Stop. Myra's voice cuts through their argument. Her fever is making everything feel surreal, like she's watching this happen to someone else. Just stop. I don't understand any of this. I don't understand what you are, what you're saying I am to you. I photograph wolves. I don't become involved with them. Too late, Damon says simply. The bond is already formed. You felt it the moment Kieran pulled you from that car. You're feeling it now. And it's only going to get stronger. Outside, the howling starts again. Closer than before. More voices joining the chorus, a whole pack singing to the storm. Kieran's head snaps toward the window. They know. Of course they know, Damon says. The whole pack will know by now. You can't hide something like this. What do they know? Mira asks. Neither brother answers. They're both tense now, alert, listening to something Mira can't quite hear beneath the wind. Then she sees them, shapes moving through the snow outside. Not 2 this time. 5, 6, more. Wolves circling the cabin, their eyes catching the firelight like copper coins. They've come to see her, Damon says. To see if the bond is real. They need to leave. Kieran moves to the door, his body language screaming aggression. Now. You can't order them away. Not from this. Watch me. But before Kieran can open the door, before Mira can process what's happening, her body convulses. Pain rips through her, not from her injuries, but from somewhere deeper. It feels like her bones are trying to rearrange themselves, like her skin is too tight, like something inside her is trying to claw its way out. She screams. Both men are at her side instantly. Kieran's hands find her shoulders, holding her steady. Damon's fingers brush her forehead, surprisingly gentle. The fever, Kieran says urgently. It's triggering the change. That's impossible. She's human. Was human. Kieran's eyes meet his brother's over Myra's convulsing body. The bond is transforming her. Pulling her toward what we are. It doesn't work that fast. It does when it's this strong. When it's meant to be. Mira barely hears them. The pain is everything, consuming her, remaking her. She can feel her body changing in ways that should be impossible, her senses sharpening until the firelight is too bright, the sound of her own heartbeat too loud. And she can smell them. Really smell them. Kieran's smoke and cedar. Damon's storm and flowers. And underneath it all, something that sings to a part of her she didn't know existed until this moment. Pack. Mate. Home. Make it stop, she gasps. We can't, Kieran says, and for the first time since she met him, he sounds afraid. You have to ride it out. Fight through it. Or give in, Damon murmurs. Let it happen. Let the bond complete. She's not ready. She doesn't have a choice. The arguing fades. The cabin fades. Everything fades except the feeling of transformation, of becoming something new. Myra's vision blurs, and when it clears, colors are sharper, shapes more defined. She can see individual snowflakes through the window. Can count the threads in the quilt covering her. Can see the marks on both brothers' shoulders glowing faintly in the firelight, pulsing in time with her own heartbeat. Then, as suddenly as it started, the pain stops. Mira collapses back against the pillows, gasping. Her body feels different, stronger, more alive. Like she's been walking around half asleep her whole life and just now opened her eyes. "What did you do to me?" she whispers. "Nothing," Kieran says. His hand is still on her shoulder, anchoring her. "The bond did this. We're just as trapped as you are." "Speak for yourself," Damon says. He's watching Mira with open fascination. "I think being trapped with her might be the most interesting thing that's happened in years." Outside, the howling rises to a crescendo. The pack is closer now, right outside the walls, their presence a weight Mira can feel in her bones. They're waiting. Watching. Bearing witness to something that hasn't happened in generations. Twin alphas and their shared mate, bound together by forces older than memory, whether they want it or not. Mira looks at her camera, still sitting on the bedside table. The photograph of the two wolves is still displayed on the screen, the crescent markings clearly visible. She should be terrified. Should be screaming, demanding explanations, trying to run despite her injuries. Instead, she feels the pull of the bond settling into her chest like an anchor, heavy and unshakable. Feels the connection to both men thrumming through her veins like a second heartbeat. This is impossible. This is real. And as the storm continues to rage outside and the pack circles closer, Mira realizes that her old life, her safe, rational, documented life, is gone. Whatever comes next will be written in blood and snow and the strange magic of a bond she never asked for but can no longer deny. Wanting to see what would happen next, subscribe to this channel to get to listen to more of our upcoming exciting stories. Click on the subscribe button now. Thank you. Chapter 3. The silence that follows Mira's transformation is worse than the pain. She lies in the bed, her chest heaving, her body humming with an energy that feels both foreign and achingly familiar. Kieran still has his hand on her shoulder, his touch the only thing grounding her to reality. Damon hovers at the foot of the bed, his dark eyes tracking every rise and fall of her breath. Outside, the wolves have gone quiet. Waiting. "Explain," Mira finally manages. Her voice sounds different to her own ears, deeper, rougher. "Explain everything. No more half-truths." Kieran withdraws his hand slowly, like he's afraid of what will happen if he breaks contact too quickly. He moves to the chair beside the bed, putting careful distance between them once again. Damon, in contrast, doesn't move at all. "We're werewolves," Kieran says simply. "Shapeshifters. Our family has protected these mountains for 6 generations. The pack you hear outside, 23 wolves, all family or chosen. We live by ancient laws, bound by magic older than civilization." That's the clinical version, Damon adds. "Want the poetry? We're children of the moon, cursed and blessed, forever caught between 2 skins. We run beneath the stars and hunt in the shadows and guard our territory with tooth and claw." His smile is sharp. "Better? Neither version makes this feel real," Mira says. But even as she speaks, she knows it is real. She can feel it in the way her senses have sharpened, in the strength coursing through her previously injured body, in the bond that ties her to both men like invisible threads. "It gets more complicated," Kieran continues. "Among our kind, there's a concept called the mate bond. It's not chosen, not logical. The moon, or fate, or magic, depending on which elder you ask, marks certain wolves for each other. When you meet your fated mate, you know. The bond snaps into place, immediate and undeniable. Like a biological imperative," Mira says, trying to fit this into a framework her scientific mind can understand. "Pheromones, genetic compatibility. Like your soul recognizing its other half," Damon interrupts. "Don't try to logic this away, photographer. Some things exist beyond your lens. Kieran shoots his brother a dark look before continuing. The bond is sacred. Unbreakable. And in our culture, it only forms between two wolves. One mate, one bond. That's the law of nature and the foundation of our society. Mira sees where this is going. But you both feel it. Yes. The word comes from both brothers simultaneously. They look at each other, something bitter and old passing between them. That's impossible, Kieran says, but there's no conviction in it now. The bond doesn't split. It doesn't choose to. And yet. Damon spreads his hands. Here we are. Both of us pulled to her like gravity. Both of us marked by the same woman. Tell me, brother, when you carried her through that storm, did you feel it? The rightness? The way every instinct screamed that she was yours? Kieran's jaw tightens. Yes. So did I. From 200 miles away, I felt the bond snap into place. Felt her presence like a beacon in my chest. I was in Seattle, trying to forget I ever had a pack, and suddenly I couldn't breathe until I got here. Damon's gaze finds Myra's. Until I got to you. This isn't possible, Kieran repeats, but he sounds less certain now. Maybe the moon has a sense of humor, Damon suggests. Twin alphas who hate each other, bound to the same woman. That's either fate's greatest gift or her cruelest joke. We don't hate each other. But Kieran won't look at his brother. Don't we? Damon's voice goes cold. You exiled me, Kieran. Drove me from the pack, from my home, from everything I knew. Because I challenged you. Because I refused to submit. You nearly killed Marcus. He attacked me first. You took it too far. You always take it too far. Kieran's control is cracking, fury bleeding through. That's why you had to leave. Not because I wanted you gone, but because the pack couldn't survive with both of us trying to lead. So you chose yourself over your brother. I chose the pack over chaos. Stop. Myra's voice cracks like a whip. Both men turn to her, and she sees it clearly now, the pain beneath the anger, the history of wounds that never healed. I don't care about your past. I care about what's happening right now. You're saying I'm bound to both of you? That this bond thing chose me as your mate, plural? It shouldn't be possible, Kieran says again, quieter now. But it is, Damon finishes. Which means we're in uncharted territory. The pack laws, the ancient rules, none of them account for this. What are the rules? Mira asks. Kieran and Damon exchange another look. This time, it's Kieran who answers. A fated mate bond must be completed within one lunar cycle of formation. 28 days from the moment the bond snaps into place. If it's not completed, if the mate mark isn't sealed, both wolves die. Myra's blood runs cold. Die? The bond is magic, Damon explains. It's powerful, but it's also demanding. It requires completion, consummation, the full acceptance of the mate mark. Without it, the magic turns poisonous. Both parties waste away. That's barbaric. That's nature. Kieran's voice is gentle despite the harsh truth. The bond isn't meant to be denied. It's meant to ensure the survival of our kind, to create unbreakable partnerships that strengthen the pack. And if there are two of you? Mira looks between them. How does that work? Neither man answers. The silence stretches, heavy with implications. You don't know, Mira realizes. This has never happened before. Not in recorded history, Kieran admits. There are legends, stories passed down through generations about twin flames and shared bonds. But they're just myths. Cautionary tales about greed and tragedy. How do they end? Mira asks, though she's not sure she wants to know. Badly, Damon says. Usually with everyone dead. That's not helpful. It's honest. Damon moves closer, ignoring Kieran's warning growl. Look, the way I see it, we have 3 options. 1. Kieran accepts that the bond chose me, steps aside, and I complete the mate mark with you. 2. I do the same for him. 3. We figure out if the bond actually chose both of us and find a way to make this work. There is no option 3, Kieran says flatly. Pack law forbids it. 1 mate, 1 bond. Sharing is necessary, Damon interrupts. If we both die trying to complete a bond that refuses to choose between us, we don't know that's what will happen. We don't know it won't. Myra's head is spinning. 28 days. 3 options, none of them good. 2 men who clearly despise each other, both claiming she belongs to them. And underneath it all, the bond itself, that magnetic pull she can feel even now, drawing her toward both of them with equal intensity. I need air, she says. I need to think. You're still injured, Kieran starts. But Mira is already standing. Her leg should buckle under her weight, the fracture was bad, the pain excruciating just hours ago. Instead, she feels strong. Whole. She looks down at her splinted leg, then at Kieran. What did you do? The bond, he says quietly. It's accelerating your healing. Transforming you into what we are. I'm becoming a werewolf. Mira says it out loud, testing the words. They should sound insane. Instead, they sound inevitable. Yes. How long do I have? Until what? Damon asks. Until I'm fully changed. Until I'm one of you. Kieran and Damon exchange another look. We don't know, Kieran admits. In normal mate bonds, the transformation happens gradually over weeks, months. But you're not normal. The bond between us is too strong, too immediate. You could shift for the first time tonight. Or next week. Or. A howl cuts through the air, close and sharp. It's followed by another, then another, a chorus of warning that makes every hair on Myra's body stand on end. Kieran is at the window in an instant. Rogues. How many? Damon is already moving, pulling weapons from hidden places around the cabin. A silver knife appears in his hand, another tucked into his boot. Too many. Kieran's voice is grim. At least 7. Maybe more. They're after her, Damon says. It's not a question. Of course they are. Word travels fast. A new mate bond, especially one like this, it's a beacon. Every rogue pack within 100 miles will want to challenge it, test our strength. Or steal her for themselves, Damon adds, checking his blade. An unclaimed mate is fair game in rogue culture. I'm not unclaimed, Mira says, and both men turn to stare at her. She's surprised by the certainty in her own voice, the possessive edge. I'm yours. Both of yours. So what do we do? Kieran looks at his brother. Something passes between them, an understanding forged in childhood, tempered by conflict, but unbreakable despite years of silence. We fight. Together? Damon's smile is sharp. For her. Always. The cabin door explodes inward. Mira doesn't have time to scream. The rogue wolf is massive, bigger than either Kieran or Damon in their wolf forms, with matted brown fur and eyes that gleam with feral hunger. It lunges for her, claws extended, jaws wide. Kieran hits it from the side, his body already shifting mid-leap. Bones crack and reform, skin giving way to silver fur, and suddenly it's not a man but a wolf defending her, the same silver wolf that pulled her from the wreckage. He slams into the rogue, teeth finding its throat, driving it away from Mira. 2 more rogues pour through the door. Damon meets them, and Mira sees the transformation take him too, faster than Kieran's, fluid as water. One moment he's human, the next he's the massive black wolf from her photographs. He moves like liquid shadow, all deadly grace and lethal precision. The cabin descends into chaos. Mira presses back against the wall, her heart hammering. She should be terrified. should be helpless. But something inside her is rising to meet the violence, something primal and fierce that wants to bare teeth she doesn't have yet and defend what's hers. Mine, something whispers in her mind. My pack. My mates. Mine to protect. A fourth rogue breaks through the window, glass shattering. It's smaller than the others but faster, and it's coming straight for Mira while Kieran and Damon are occupied. Mira grabs the walking stick Kieran carved for her. It's pathetic compared to claws and fangs, but it's what she has. When the rogue lunges, she swings. The crack of wood against skull echoes through the cabin. The rogue yelps, stumbling, and Mira swings again, putting all her newfound strength behind it. This time the stick breaks, but not before connecting solidly with the wolf's jaw. It's enough to stagger it. Enough for Damon to break away from his opponent and slam into the smaller rogue, teeth closing around its scruff. He shakes it once, violently, and throws it back out the broken window. But more are coming. Mira can hear them circling, can smell them on the wind, unwashed fur and blood and hunger. 7, Kieran said. At least 7. The back door. Kieran's voice is rough, more growl than words, but Mira understands. They're being herded, trapped in the cabin. They need to move, to get to open ground where they can properly fight. Damon shifts back to human long enough to grab Mira's hand. Stay close. Don't leave our side. Then they're moving. Kieran leads the way, still in wolf form, using his body as a battering ram to clear a path through the rogues. Damon follows, shifting between forms with a fluidity that should be impossible. Human to grab Mira when she stumbles, wolf to fight when a rogue gets too close, human again to guide her through the snow. They burst out of the cabin into the storm. The world is white and howling, but Mira's new senses cut through it. She can see the rogues circling, can count them. 9. No, 10. More than Kieran estimated. Too many. Mira, run, Kieran commands, his voice barely human. Get to the trees. Don't stop until you reach the pack's territory markers. I'm not leaving you. You don't have a choice. Damon is beside her, blood streaming from a gash across his ribs. This is a challenge fight. They want to kill us and claim you. If you stay, you die. If you run, we have a chance. No. Mira plants her feet. The bond is screaming at her to stay, to fight, to protect. I'm not running. Mira. A rogue breaks from the circle, lunging for her exposed throat. Mira doesn't think. She just moves, dropping low like some instinct teaches her, and the wolf sails over her head. When it lands, confused, Mira does something she didn't know she could do. She shifts. It's not complete, not like Kieran's or Damon's controlled transformations. It's messy, painful, a half-change that leaves her caught between woman and wolf. Her hands become claws, her teeth sharpen to fangs, her senses explode into hyperfocus. And when the rogue comes at her again, she meets it. Her claws find fur and flesh. The rogue's teeth find her shoulder, tearing through skin, leaving marks that burn like acid. But Mira doesn't let go. She fights with a ferocity born of the bond, of the desperate need to protect what's hers. Kieran and Damon are on the rogue in seconds, tearing it away from her. But the damage is done. Mira can feel it, the rogue's mark burning on her shoulder, poisonous magic seeping into her bloodstream. The other rogues see her injury and howl in triumph. In wolf culture, she realizes through the pain, marking a mate is claiming her. And now she's been marked by an enemy. Fall back. Kieran's command cuts through the chaos. To the pack grounds. Now. They run. Kieran and Damon flank Mira, supporting her when her legs threaten to give out. Behind them, the rogues give chase, howling their victory. But ahead, answering calls echo through the forest. Deeper voices, familiar. The pack, Kieran and Damon's pack, responding to the threat. The clearing they reach is marked by standing stones, ancient and weathered. The moment Mira crosses the boundary, she feels it, pack territory, protected by magic and blood and generations of wolves who called this home. The rogues skid to a halt at the stone's edge. They can't cross. Not without declaring war on the entire pack. And emerging from the trees on Myra's side of the boundary are wolves. 20 of them, maybe more, all different sizes and colors. The pack, answering their alpha's call. The largest wolf, gray with white around its muzzle, shifts into an older man with kind eyes and Kieran's nose. Report. Rogue attack, Kieran says, shifting back to human. He's covered in cuts, breathing hard. They were after Mira. The older man's gaze finds Mira, still caught in her half-shift, clutching her bleeding shoulder. His eyes widen. The mate bond. Both of us, Damon says quietly. He's shifted back too, positioning himself beside Kieran. She's bonded to both of us, father. Father. This is their alpha, their pack leader. The man who exiled Damon. Impossible, the older man breathes. And yet. Damon gestures to Mira. She's been marked by a rogue. We have 28 days to complete the bond, or we all die. Less now, actually. Maybe 25, 26. Your move, Alpha. The pack murmurs, a ripple of shock running through them. Mira tries to follow the conversation, but the burning in her shoulder is getting worse. She looks down and sees the wound is spreading, black veins radiating from the bite marks. What's happening to me? She gasps. Kieran is at her side immediately. He examines the wound, his face going pale. Poison mark. Rogue saliva carries a venom that spreads through unmarked mates. Meaning? Mira can barely get the word out. Meaning you have to complete a mate bond within the lunar cycle, or the poison will turn you feral. You'll lose yourself, become a mindless wolf, part of no pack. Kieran's voice is tight with controlled panic. The only cure is the completion of the mate mark. So mark her, the alpha says. One of you. Now. We both feel the pull, Damon says. If only one of us marks her, the other dies. The bond won't accept half measures. Then you die. The alpha's voice is cold. Better one son than none. Better one death than breaking pack law. There has to be another way, Kieran says. There isn't. But their father sounds less certain now. He's looking at Mira with something like pity. The law is clear. One mate, one bond. Anything else is corruption. Perversion of the moon's gift. So we let her die? Damon's voice is dangerous. We let this poison turn her into a monster because the laws haven't caught up with reality? We follow the laws because without them, we're nothing but beasts. Myra's legs give out. Kieran catches her, lowering her gently to the ground. The poison is spreading faster now, black veins creeping up her neck, down her arm. She can feel it in her blood, burning, changing her. How long? She whispers. Hours, Kieran says. Maybe a day if you're strong. Not enough time to figure this out. No. Mira looks at the two brothers kneeling beside her. Kieran, all control and duty and desperate love. Damon, chaos and passion and fierce protection. Both of them watching her like she's the most precious thing in the world. Both of them willing to die for her. Then we break the rules, Mira says. Her voice is steadier than she feels. We mark me. Both of you. We complete the bond the way it wants to be completed. That's forbidden, the alpha says. So is letting your sons die. Mira meets his gaze without flinching. So is letting me become a monster. You want to follow the law? Fine. But don't pretend it's about morality. It's about fear. Fear of what you don't understand. Silence falls over the clearing. The pack watches, waiting for their alpha's judgment. Finally, the older man speaks. If you do this, if you complete a three-way bond, you'll be exiled. All of you. The pack cannot harbor corruption. We're not corrupted, Kieran says quietly. We're chosen. By who? By what? The moon doesn't make mistakes like this. Maybe it's not a mistake, Daemon says. Maybe it's evolution. Maybe the moon is trying to tell us something, and we're too stuck in the old ways to listen. The Alpha looks between his sons, then at Mira dying on the ground between them. Something shifts in his expression, pain, love, reluctant acceptance. You have until sunrise, he says finally. Complete the bond or don't. But if you survive, you leave these mountains. I won't have my pack torn apart by this. It's not the blessing Mira wanted, but it's permission. She looks at Kieran and Daemon. Will it work? I don't know, Kieran admits. But we have to try. Together, Daemon adds. He takes Myra's uninjured hand, and Kieran takes the other. Whatever happens, we face it together. The bond flares between them, hot and bright and undeniable. Mira feels it in her chest, in her bones, in the marrow of her changing body. This is right. This is meant to be. The moon didn't make a mistake. She chose them. All three of them. Then mark me, Mira says. Before the poison wins. Make me yours. And as the pack watches and the rogues howl beyond the stones and the storm continues to rage, Kieran and Daemon lean in together. Their teeth find the traditional marking spot, where her neck meets her shoulder, on either side of her throat. The bite is pain and pleasure and pure magic all at once. The mate bond, forbidden and perfect, snaps into place with the force of a thunderclap. And Mira Chin, skeptical wildlife photographer, becomes something impossible, the shared mate of twin alpha werewolves, marked by both, bound to both, belonging to both. The poison in her shoulder begins to recede, driven back by the power of the completed bond. But as the black veins fade and the burning subsides, Mira knows this is just the beginning. They have until sunrise to leave these mountains. And the rest of their lives to figure out what they've become. If you're still listening to this story up to this point, why don't you subscribe to this channel to continue getting impactful daily stories like this? We would be most grateful if you can do that to help boost this video to reach everyone. Thank you. Chapter 4. The mate bond settles into Myra's chest like a living thing, two threads of pure magic winding through her ribcage, connecting her to both brothers with an intimacy that goes beyond physical. She can feel Kieran's rigid control warring with his fierce protectiveness. Can sense Daemon's wild joy tempered by darker undercurrents of fear. And underneath it all, the poison still burns. Mira gasps, her hand flying to her shoulder where the rogue's bite should be healing. Instead, the black veins are spreading again, slower than before but relentless. The mate bond pushed the poison back, but it didn't eliminate it. It's not working, Kieran says, his voice tight. He's examining the wound with growing alarm. The bond should have cured it completely. Maybe it needs time, Daemon argues, but he sounds uncertain. His hand hovers over Myra's shoulder, not quite touching. The magic is still settling. Or maybe, Victor's voice cuts through the clearing like a blade, the bond isn't complete because it's wrong. Corrupted. Against nature. The Alpha moves closer, and the pack parts for him. Up close, Victor Thorne is an imposing figure, tall as his sons, with steel-gray hair and eyes that miss nothing. His face is weathered by years of leadership, marked by the same kinds of scars that decorate Kieran's skin. Father, Kieran starts. Silence. Victor's gaze is fixed on Mira, assessing her with the cold calculation of a man who's made hard choices his whole life. Stand up, girl. Let me see what my sons have bound themselves to. Mira tries. Her legs shake, but the bond gives her strength. She can feel Kieran and Daemon lending her their power, sharing their wolf's vitality. She manages to get to her feet, swaying only slightly. Victor circles her like she's prey. Human. No pack scent, no lineage I recognize. And yet my sons, both of them, claim you're their fated mate. He stops in front of her, so close she can see the gold flecks in his amber eyes. Do you know what you've done? I didn't do anything, Mira says. Her voice is steadier than she feels. Your sons saved my life. The bond chose us. I didn't ask for this. The bond doesn't choose wrong. Then maybe your understanding of the bond is incomplete. A ripple of shock runs through the pack. No one speaks to the Alpha like that, Mira realizes. But she's past caring about protocol. She's dying slowly, poisoned by a rogue's venom, and this man is wasting time with accusations. Victor's lips thin. You have no idea what you're talking about. Then explain it to me. Mira meets his gaze without flinching. Tell me why the bond that's supposed to save my life is killing me instead. For a long moment, Victor doesn't answer. He looks at his sons, Kieran standing rigid as stone, Damon radiating defensive fury. Something painful crosses the Alpha's face, something that looks almost like grief. Come with me, he says finally. All of you. The pack doesn't need to hear this. He turns and walks toward the largest cabin at the edge of the clearing. Kieran and Damon help Mira follow, supporting her between them. The black veins have reached her collarbone now, creeping toward her heart with each passing minute. The Alpha's cabin is larger than Kieran's but just as rustic, all stone and timber, with pelts on the walls and a fire burning low in the hearth. Victor gestures to a worn leather couch. Sit. Before you fall down and make this harder. Mira sinks onto the couch gratefully. Kieran sits on her right, Damon on her left, both of them touching her, Kieran's hand on her knee, Damon's arm along the back of the couch behind her shoulders. The contact helps. The bond purrs with satisfaction at having both mates close. Victor pours himself a drink from a crystal decanter, whiskey, by the smell, and downs it in one swallow. Then he pours another and stares into the amber liquid like it holds answers. 32 years ago, he begins, my wife gave birth to twins. 2 sons, born 3 minutes apart under a full moon. It should have been a blessing. Twin alphas are rare, powerful. They should have made our pack unstoppable. But there was a complication, Kieran says quietly. He's heard this story before, Mira realizes. Maybe his whole life. A witch, Victor confirms. Moira Blackthorn. She came to our territory claiming her daughter had been murdered by pack wolves. She demanded justice. When I couldn't give it to her, when I told her we'd investigated and found no evidence of pack involvement, she cursed my sons. Myra's blood runs cold. Cursed them how? She said they would share one mate and destroy each other over her. Victor's voice is flat, emotionless. That the bond would tear them apart, turn brother against brother until one killed the other. And the mate who survived would die of grief, her wolf broken beyond repair. 3 deaths from one curse. A fitting revenge, she said, for her daughter's murder. The cabin falls silent except for the crackling of the fire. Mira looks between the brothers. Did you know? When the bond snapped into place, did you know about the curse? I knew, Kieran admits. I've known my whole life. It's why I've been so careful, so controlled. Why I never let myself get close to anyone. I found out when I was exiled, Damon adds bitterly. Father thought it was important I understand why he chose Kieran over me. Why he couldn't risk both his sons staying in the pack, close enough to find their shared mate. I chose the pack's survival, Victor says. I chose to protect my sons by keeping them apart. And yet here we are, Damon's smile is sharp. Funny how fate works, isn't it, Father? You spend 30 years trying to prevent a prophecy, and it happens anyway. It doesn't have to. Victor sets down his glass with deliberate care. The bond isn't complete yet. Not fully. You've marked her, yes, but the final ritual, the true joining that seals a mate bond permanently, hasn't been performed. There's still time to break this. Break it? Myra's voice rises. The poison is spreading. Without the mate bond, I'll turn feral or die. You want to break it? Better you die than my sons destroy each other, Victor says, and there's no apology in his tone. Better one stranger's death than the prophecy coming true. Kieran stands abruptly. No. Sit down. I said no. Kieran's voice carries alpha command now, power that makes even Victor pause. I won't break the bond. I won't let her die. There has to be another way. There isn't. Victor's control cracks. I've spent 30 years searching for one. Every witch, every shaman, every elder who might know how to break Moira's curse. They all said the same thing: the only way to prevent the prophecy is to prevent the bond. Then we don't prevent it, Daemon says. He's standing too now, moving to flank Kieran. United front, Mira realizes. Whatever history lies between them, they're together on this. We face it. We find a way to make it work. You're not listening. No, you're not listening. Daemon's eyes flash with wolf light. The prophecy says we'll destroy each other over her. Fine. We won't. We'll share her, protect her together. We'll prove the curse wrong. Curses don't work that way, Victor says. They twist everything. Every choice you make will lead back to destruction. Or, Mira says quietly, and both brothers turn to her, maybe the curse is already broken. 3 pairs of eyes fix on her. She takes a shaky breath, trying to organize thoughts that are getting harder to hold onto as the poison spreads. The witch cursed you to share one mate and destroy each other over her. But that assumes we'll fight about it. That will let jealousy and possessiveness tear us apart. Mira looks between Kieran and Daemon. What if we don't? What if we choose differently? It's not about choice, Victor says. It's about nature. 2 alphas can't share. It goes against every instinct. Does it? Mira touches her shoulder where both brothers marked her. Because right now, my instincts are telling me this is right. That they belong together, with me between them. Not fighting over me, but united because of me. Victor's expression shifts, still skeptical, but something else creeping in. Hope, maybe. Or fear of hoping. Before he can respond, the cabin door bursts open. A woman enters, beautiful in the way wild things are beautiful, all sharp edges and dangerous grace. Her hair is the color of honey, her eyes green as spring leaves. She's dressed for the cold in furs and leather, but there's nothing soft about her. Is it true? She demands. Has Kieran taken a mate? Victor's face hardens. Elena. I didn't summon you. You didn't need to. The whole pack is talking about it. Elena's gaze finds Mira, and her expression turns venomous. This is her. This human. She's not your concern, Kieran says. Not my concern. Elena laughs, but there's no humor in it. You promised yourself to me, Kieran. Your father arranged it when we were children. I've waited 20 years for you to honor that promise. I made no promises, Kieran says carefully. Our fathers talked. I never agreed to anything. Because you were waiting for your fated mate. Elena moves closer, her movements predatory. Fine. I accepted that. But this? She gestures at Mira dismissively. A human with no pack, no lineage, no strength? You choose this over me? The bond chose, Daemon says. Kieran didn't get a vote. Elena's gaze shifts to him, and Mira sees recognition dawn. You. Victor's exile. They let you back? Temporarily, Daemon's smile is all teeth. Long enough to claim what's mine. Yours? Elena's laugh is sharp. Oh, this is rich. Twin alphas fighting over a human. The prophecy really is coming true, isn't it? There's no fight, Mira says. She forces herself to stand, pushing past the weakness. They're both mine. I'm both of theirs. It's not traditional, but it's real. Elena looks at her like she's something scraped off a boot. You think you can hold them? A weak human who needs two wolves to protect her because she can't protect herself? You'll break them. Turn them against each other. And when they destroy each other fighting over your pathetic human body, I'll be there to pick up the pieces. Elena, that's enough, Victor warns. Is it? Elena's eyes flash with wolf light. Because by pack law, any unbonded female can challenge for an alpha's mate. And I'm challenging. She bares her teeth at Mira. Tomorrow night, full moon. You and me, human. We'll see if you're worthy of either of them. She's poisoned, Kieran snaps. She's dying. You can't. Can't I? Elena smiles. The challenge is issued. She can accept or forfeit Kieran. Her choice. She's gone before anyone can respond, slamming the door behind her hard enough to make the walls shake. Mira sinks back onto the couch. The poison has reached her chest now, black veins crawling over her heart like vines. She can feel it with each beat, ice and fire, spreading. How long do I have? She asks. No one answers. The silence is answer enough. Hours, Damon finally says. Maybe until dawn if you're lucky. Then we do the ritual now, Kieran says. Tonight. We complete the bond fully and hope it's enough to burn the poison out. And fulfill the prophecy, Victor says. Doom you both. We're already doomed if we don't try. Victor looks at his sons, really looks at them, like he's memorizing their faces. If I allow this, you leave. All three of you. You take your forbidden bond and you go far from here, where the prophecy can't touch what's left of my pack. Father, Kieran starts. That's my price. You do the ritual, you save her, you survive, you leave and you never come back. I won't watch you destroy each other. I can't. Damon's jaw tightens. So you exile us. I save you. The prophecy says you'll destroy each other over her. If you're not here, not fighting for pack position, maybe you have a chance. Victor's voice cracks slightly. Maybe distance is the answer. Maybe that's what Moira never expected, that I'd be willing to lose my sons to save them. Mira watches the three men, father and sons, alpha and heirs, bound by love and separated by fear. She thinks about curses and prophecies, about how stories shape reality until you can't tell which came first. What if there's another answer, she says softly. What if we're looking at this wrong? What do you mean? Kieran asks. Myra's thoughts are getting foggy, the poison making it hard to focus. But something is nagging at her, some piece that doesn't fit. The witch. Moira Blackthorn. You said she claimed her daughter was murdered by pack wolves. Yes. But we investigated. Found nothing. What was her daughter's name? Victor frowns. I don't remember. It was 30 years ago. Try. Mira leans forward despite the pain. Please. It's important. Sarah, I think. Or maybe Sarah. Why does it matter? Because Blackthorn was my mother's maiden name, Mira says. The words feel pulled from somewhere deep inside her, some knowledge she didn't know she possessed. And my grandmother's name was Moira. The cabin goes absolutely still. That's impossible, Victor breathes. Is it? Mira touches the poison spreading across her chest. You said Moira was a witch. What if she was also a wolf? What if her daughter, my mother, was killed by pack wolves, and that's why the curse was so powerful? Because it was made with a wolf's magic and a mother's grief? Your mother, Kieran says slowly. How did she die? Car accident. Or that's what I was always told. Myra's mind is racing now despite the poison. When I was 2. My father raised me alone, never talked about her family. I didn't even know I had a grandmother until I found some old photos after he died last year. She fumbles for her camera with shaking hands. It survived the crash, survived everything. She scrolls through photos, past the wolves, past the tracks, back to personal pictures she keeps for herself. Family photos. And there, a faded snapshot of a young woman with Myra's face and hair dark as midnight. That's her, Mira says. My mother. Sarah Chen. She was 23 when she died. Victor takes the camera, staring at the photo. His face has gone pale. Damon, get the PAC records. The case file from 30 years ago. Damon disappears into an adjoining room. Mira can hear him rummaging through files, papers rustling. When he returns, he's holding a yellowed folder. The investigation, he says, opening it. Moira Blackthorne's daughter. Killed in a suspicious car accident on Route 17. She claimed it was murder, that pack wolves ran her car off the road. But there was no evidence. He pulls out a photo clip to the report. A driver's license, issued to Sarah Blackthorne. The same face as Myra's mother, younger, smiling at the camera. Oh my God, Mira whispers. You're not human, Victor says. He's staring at Mira like she's a ghost. You're Moira's granddaughter. Her bloodline. But that means. I'm a wolf, Mira finishes. Or I should be. But I've never shifted, never known. My father never told me. Because he didn't know, Damon says, reading through the file. It says here Sarah Blackthorne was engaged to Marcus Chen when she died. He wasn't PAC, wasn't supernatural. Just a human who loved a wolf. And when she died, Moira cursed the PAC, Kieran says. Cursed us specifically. But why you? Mira asks. Why twins who weren't even born yet? Because, Victor says slowly, realization dawning, we weren't cursed for revenge. We were cursed for you. Silence. Then. The prophecy, Mira breathes. Moira said you would share one mate. She said the bond would bring destruction. But what if that's not the real curse? What if the curse was meant to bring me here? To bring me to you? That's insane, Damon says. But he sounds uncertain. Is it? Mira gestures to herself, to the brothers, to the impossible situation they're in. Two alphas cursed to share one mate. One granddaughter with dormant wolf blood, raised human, with no idea what she really is. A car crash that brought me to your territory at exactly the right time. This isn't coincidence. This is orchestrated. By a dead witch? Victor's skepticism is clear. By a grandmother who wanted to make sure her bloodline survived, Mira counters. She lost her daughter to pack wolves. Maybe she cursed you not for revenge, but to ensure her granddaughter would be protected. Claimed by two alphas so powerful that nothing could ever hurt her. That's. Kieran trails off. That's actually brilliant. Twisted, but brilliant. It's also just a theory, Damon points out. We have no proof. The proof is in the poison, Mira says. The black veins have spread to her throat now, making it hard to breathe. The rogue's mark should have killed me by now. But it hasn't, because I'm not fully human. I'm Moira's granddaughter. I have her blood, her magic. And maybe, just maybe, the cure isn't just completing the mate bond. It's awakening my wolf. Victor moves to a bookshelf, pulling down a leather-bound journal. When Moira cursed my sons, she left this. Said it would help when the time came. I've never been able to read it, it's written in a cipher only her bloodline can decode. He hands it to Mira. The moment her fingers touch the leather, the pages glow. Not metaphorically, actual light, golden and warm, emanating from the ancient paper. And the text. Mira can read it. Every word, clear as day, in handwriting that matches the old letters she found in her father's belongings. My dearest granddaughter, the first page reads. If you are reading this, then my curse has worked, and you have found your mates. Do not fear what comes next. You were always meant for this. You were always meant for them. The Blackthorne line carries ancient magic, older than the pack bonds that govern werewolf society. We are not just wolves, we are the keepers of the old ways, the bridge between wild and civilized, the balance that prevents chaos. Your mother died because she tried to join a pack that feared what she represented. They killed her to prevent our bloodline from spreading, from challenging their power. I cursed the Thorn twins not for revenge, but for protection. For yours, and for theirs. When you come of age, when your wolf finally awakens, you will need strong mates to anchor you. The transformation will be violent, dangerous. Without them, you will be lost. The car crash was no accident. I have seen it in the smoke and the bones. A faction within the pack, those who fear change, who remember what your mother represented, they will try to stop you before you awaken. They will try to kill you as they killed her. But the curse protects you. The Thorn twins will save you because they must. They will fight for you because the bond demands it. And together, the three of you will be strong enough to survive what comes next. Trust the bond, my darling girl. Trust your mates. And when the time comes, trust your wolf. She's been waiting for you. Mira looks up from the journal, her hands shaking. The crash. Someone in the pack tried to kill me. No, Victor says sharply. No, that's not possible. My wolves would never. Elena, Damon says suddenly. Think about it, father. She was promised to Kieran. She's been waiting for him her whole life. And suddenly there's a human, or supposedly human, who threatens that. What if she found out what Mira really is? What if someone told her about Moira's prophecy? Elena wouldn't. Victor stops. His face hardens. She's powerful. Connected. If anyone in this pack had access to old magic, old knowledge, it would be her family. We need to confront her, Kieran says. Later. Myra's voice is fading. The poison has reached her jaw, her lips. She can feel it in her brain now, cold and invasive. First we complete the ritual. Awaken my wolf. Or I'll be dead before Elena has a chance to challenge me. She looks at the brothers. Both of them are watching her with identical expressions, love and fear and desperate determination. Do it, Mira whispers. Whatever the ritual requires. Do it now, before it's too late. Kieran and Damon exchange a look. Then, as one, they kneel on either side of her. The final ritual, Kieran says, requires blood, magic, and acceptance. You have to accept both of us fully. Let us in completely. No walls, no fear, no doubt. I accept you, Mira says immediately. Both of you. Always. And you have to accept yourself, Damon adds. Accept what you are. Let your wolf rise. That's harder. Myra's spent 30 years believing she's human. 30 years with no hint of the supernatural. How does she just accept that it was all a lie? But then she thinks of Moira, her grandmother, writing that journal with a dying woman's determination. Thinks of Sarah, her mother, dying to protect a secret she couldn't share. Thinks of all the ways her life led her here, to this cabin, to these men, to this impossible moment. Maybe it's not about accepting a lie. Maybe it's about accepting a truth she always knew but couldn't name. I'm ready, Mira says. The brothers bite their wrists, letting blood well up. They press the wounds to her lips, and Mira tastes copper and magic in something ancient. The mate bond flares, burning through her like wildfire. And deep inside her, something stirs. Something that's been sleeping for 30 years. Something that opens golden eyes and howls. If you're still listening to this story up to this point, why don't you subscribe to this channel to continue getting impactful daily stories like this? We would be most grateful if you can do that to help boost this video to reach everyone. Thank you. Chapter 5. The wolf inside Mira wakes like an avalanche. One moment she's Mira Chen, photographer, human, dying from poison in a cabin surrounded by supernatural strangers. The next, something ancient and powerful unfurls in her chest, stretching muscles she didn't know she had, filling spaces in her soul she didn't know were empty. Finally, the wolf purrs. Finally, you let me in. Mira gasps. The brother's blood burns on her tongue, the mate bond blazing through her veins like liquid fire. But instead of pain, there's power. Instead of fear, there's recognition. She knows this feeling. Has always known it, buried deep beneath 30 years of human conditioning. This is what she was meant to be. This is who she's always been. The poison recoils from the awakening magic, black veins withering like plants in frost. Mira can feel it dying, burned away by the combined power of her bloodline, the mate bond, and the two alphas kneeling beside her. It's working, Kieran breathes. His hand is on her face, and she can feel his wolf pressing against her through the bond, silver and strong and utterly devoted. She's magnificent, Damon says. His wolf is there too, dark and wild, twining with hers like they've known each other forever. Maybe they have. Maybe Moira's curse ensured they would recognize each other across time and distance. Myra's eyes snap open. They glow, she can see it reflected in the brothers' faces. Not amber like theirs, but gold. Pure, ancient gold that matches the light emanating from Moira's journal. The Blackthorn gift, Victor whispers. He's backed away, staring at Mira with something like awe. The old magic. I thought it was extinct. Dormant, Mira corrects. Her voice sounds different, layered, as if the wolf speaks with her. Waiting for the right catalyst. She looks at Kieran and Damon. Waiting for them. The poison is almost gone now, just a few fading traces near her heart. But Mira can feel something else taking its place. A pulling sensation, like the moon itself is reaching down to touch her. She looks through the cabin window. The sky is darkening, storm clouds parting to reveal. Blood moon, Victor says, following her gaze. Tonight. I'd forgotten. Moira didn't, Mira says. She's on her feet now, strength flooding her limbs. The wolf inside her is straining at the leash, eager to run, to hunt, to claim her mates properly. She timed everything perfectly. The curse, the crash, my awakening. All of it building to tonight. She moves to the journal, flipping through pages that glow brighter with each passing second. The cipher is clear to her now, every word of her grandmother's neat script readable as plain text. Here, Mira says, pointing to a passage near the end. The ritual of the triad bond. When twins share a mate under the blood moon, when ancient magic joins with pack magic, when three become one, the curse breaks not through death, but through transformation. The impossible becomes inevitable. The forbidden becomes sacred. Let me see that. Victor takes the journal, squinting at the pages. To him, Mira realizes, it's still just meaningless symbols. What does it say? Mira reads aloud, the triad bond requires 3 elements: blood, consent, and sacrifice. The mates must give their blood willingly. The mate must accept both fully, holding nothing back. And all 3 must be willing to die for each other, not metaphorically, but truly. The magic tests the bond through fire and pain. Those who survive emerge unbreakable. Those who fail are consumed. Consumed, Damon repeats. That's cheerfully vague. It means death, Victor says flatly. It means if the bond isn't strong enough, if there's any doubt or hesitation, all 3 of you die. That's why it's forbidden. The risk is too great. Greater than letting the curse kill us anyway? Kieran asks. Greater than choosing one mate and watching the other die? Because those are our options, Father. Death or risk of death? I'll take the risk. Me too, Damon says immediately. Both brothers look at Mira. She can feel their wolves pressing against hers through the incomplete bond, protective and possessive and utterly hers. Her wolf has no doubt. Neither does her heart. But her mind, her human, rational, scientific mind, balks at the idea of a magical ritual that could kill all 3 of them. How long do we have? She asks, stalling. Until moonrise, Victor says. Maybe 2 hours. Then the blood moon reaches its peak, and the window closes. If you're going to attempt this ritual, it has to be tonight. And if we don't attempt it? Mira asks, though she already knows the answer. The curse completes its original path. The twins destroy each other fighting over you, you die of grief, and Moira's revenge claims 3 more lives. Victor's voice is heavy. I spent 30 years trying to prevent that. But maybe this is the answer. Maybe the ritual is the loophole she built into her curse. A way for all of you to survive, if you're brave enough to try. Or foolish enough, Kieran mutters. Same thing, with our family. Damon's attempt at humor falls flat. Mira is reading ahead in the journal, devouring her grandmother's words. There's more here, details about the ritual, warnings about the danger, and something else. A final entry, dated the day before Moira died. My darling Mira, she reads aloud. If you've reached this page, you've awakened your wolf and found your mates. You've learned the truth about your mother, about me, about the curse I laid to protect you. Now comes the hardest truth of all, the ritual will test you in ways you cannot imagine. It will demand everything, your courage, your love, your very soul. The magic will try to break you, to prove you're unworthy of the Triad bond. But here is what the magic doesn't know, what the old laws couldn't anticipate, the Blackthorn bloodline was always meant to break the rules. We are the bridge between old and new, the ones who question tradition and forge new paths. Your mother tried to change the pack from within and died for it. I cursed the Thorn twins to ensure you would change the pack from without, protected by 2 alphas so powerful that no one could harm you, bound by a bond so strong that tradition itself would have to bend. The final test of the ritual isn't about surviving the magic. It's about proving that love is stronger than law, that choice is more powerful than destiny, that 3 people who choose each other are worth more than 1,000 who follow blindly. Trust yourself, my darling. Trust your mates. And when the magic demands sacrifice, remember, the greatest gift you can give is not your death, but your life, lived fully, loved completely, shared generously between the 2 souls fate gave you. All my love, always and forever. Moira. Mira closes the journal with shaking hands. She knew. She knew exactly what she was asking of us. And she asked anyway, Damon says. That's cold comfort. No. Mira turns to face the brothers. She gave us a choice. That's the point. The curse was meant to force us together, but the ritual is about choosing to stay together. About proving we're not just following fate, but creating our own. You're sure about this? Kieran asks. His control is cracking, fear bleeding through. Because once we start the ritual, there's no stopping it. All 3 of us live or all 3 of us die. I'm sure. Mira is surprised by how steady her voice is. I choose both of you. Not because a curse demands it, not because a bond forces it. Because you saved me. Because you've both fought for me. Because when I look at you, I see my future, and I want that future more than I want safety. Damon moves to her, cupping her face in his hands. You're either the bravest person I've ever met or the craziest. Why not both? Mira manages a smile. I did become a wildlife photographer who specialized in wolves. Not exactly the safest career choice. Definitely both, then. Damon kisses her, soft and sweet and tinged with desperation. When he pulls back, his eyes are bright with unshed tears. For the record, if this goes wrong and we all die, I'm going to be very annoyed with my grandmother for a very long time in whatever afterlife we end up in. Stand in line, Kieran says. He takes Myra's hand, pressing it to his chest where his heart beats strong and steady. I've spent 30 years preparing for this curse. 30 years knowing I might have to die to save my brother from it. And now you're here, and suddenly I have something worth living for. Worth fighting for. His grip tightens. Worth risking everything for. Then let's risk everything. Mira looks at Victor. What do we need for the ritual? The Alpha looks between the three of them, his sons and the woman who's somehow become the key to their survival. Slowly, he nods. Come with me. If we're doing this, we do it properly. The sacred clearing is a mile from the pack grounds, hidden deep in the forest where the oldest trees grow. Victor leads them there as the sky darkens and the moon begins to rise, huge and red, stained the color of blood. The clearing is marked by standing stones, older than the pack, older than the town, maybe older than the mountain itself. They form a perfect circle, each one carved with symbols that glow faintly in the moonlight. This is where we conduct the most sacred rituals, Victor explains. Mating ceremonies, alpha challenges, pack bonds. The stones amplify magic, contain it, make it stronger. The pack has gathered at the edge of the clearing, all 23 wolves in human form, watching with a mixture of curiosity and fear. Elena stands at the front, her beautiful face twisted with rage. You can't be serious, she says as Mira enters the circle with Kieran and Damon flanking her. You're going to let them attempt a forbidden ritual? Let this human pretender. Mira is no pretender. Victor's voice cuts like a blade. She's Moira Blackthorn's granddaughter. She carries the ancient bloodline. And she's the twins' fated mate, both of them. The bond doesn't lie, Elena. It never has. Then the bond is corrupted. Elena's control shatters. Just like the twins are corrupted. Just like this whole pack will be corrupted if you allow this abomination. She shifts, not slowly, not with control, but in a burst of rage-fueled transformation. One moment she's a woman, the next she's a honey-colored wolf with murder in her green eyes. She lunges for Mira. Kieran and Damon move as one, intercepting Elena mid-leap. The clearing erupts into chaos. Pack members scatter, some shifting, others shouting. Elena fights like a demon possessed, snapping at Kieran's throat, her claws raking Damon's side. I should have killed you on that mountain road. Elena snarls, her voice barely human even in wolf form. Should have finished what I started. Myra's blood freezes. You caused the crash. Of course I did. Elena tears away from the brothers, circling Mira with predatory focus. Did you think it was an accident? I've been watching you for months, waiting for you to come to our territory. When Moira's curse started pulling you here, I knew. I knew you were the one who would steal Kieran from me. So I took matters into my own hands. You worked with the rogues, Victor says. His voice is deadly quiet. You betrayed your pack. I saved my pack. Elena's eyes are wild. The Blackthorn bloodline destroyed us once. Moira's daughter nearly tore us apart with her talk of change, of new ways. We couldn't let it happen again. Couldn't let her granddaughter finish what Sarah started. So you tried to murder her. Damon's voice is pure alpha command. You broke pack law. You betrayed your alpha. You conspired with rogues. I did what was necessary. But Elena is backing up now, realizing she's confessed everything in front of the entire pack. You don't understand. The old ways are dying. If we don't hold on to tradition, we'll lose everything that makes us wolves. Tradition, Mira says softly, or chains. Elena snarls and lunges again. This time, Mira is ready. Her wolf rises to meet the attack, not all the way, not a full shift, but enough. Her hands become claws, her teeth sharpen, and when Elena hits her, Mira holds her ground. They grapple, wolf and half-wolf, rolling across the clearing. Elena is stronger, more experienced, but Mira has something Elena doesn't, the bond. She can feel Kieran and Damon supporting her, lending her their strength, their speed, their power. And she has rage. Pure, burning rage at this woman who tried to kill her, who conspired with rogues, who would rather commit murder than accept change. Myra's claws find Elena's throat. Not deep enough to kill, but enough to pin. Enough to dominate. Submit, Mira growls. The word comes from her wolf, from the Blackthorn magic in her blood. Submit or die. For a long moment, Elena struggles. Then, slowly, she goes limp. It's not true submission. Mira can see the hatred still burning in her eyes, but it's acknowledgement of defeat. Victor, Mira says, not taking her eyes off Elena. What's the punishment for betraying your alpha? Exile, Victor says. Or death. Alpha's choice. Then I choose exile. Mira releases Elena, stepping back. Let her live. Let her go. But she leaves tonight and never returns. And if she ever comes near any of us again, there will be no mercy. Elena shifts back to human, blood streaming from the scratches on her throat. You'll regret this. All of you. The curse will consume you. Moira's revenge will destroy everything. Maybe, Mira says. Or maybe we'll prove that love is stronger than revenge. That choice is stronger than tradition. That 3 people who choose each other can break a curse that stood for 30 years. She meets Elena's gaze steadily. We'll never know unless we try. Elena spits at her feet and runs, disappearing into the forest with a final, mournful howl. The pack watches her go in silence. Then Victor speaks. Does anyone else wish to challenge this bond? Anyone else who believes tradition is worth more than the lives of my sons? No one moves. No one speaks. Then we witness. Victor gestures to the standing stones. Let the ritual begin. Mira stands in the center of the stone circle with Kieran and Damon on either side of her. The blood moon is rising, huge and red, bathing everything in crimson light. She can feel the magic building, pressing against her skin like static electricity. How does this work? She asks. Blood first, Kieran says. He pulls a silver knife from his belt, ceremonial, by the look of it, with runes carved into the blade. We each give blood to the bond. Mix our essence. He cuts his palm, not deep but enough for blood to well up. Damon does the same. Then both men look at Mira. She takes the knife with steady hands and mirrors their cuts. The pain is sharp and immediate, but she welcomes it. This is real. This is her choice. Consent second, Damon says. They join hands, Myra's between theirs, blood mingling. We speak our truth. No lies, no doubts. The magic knows. I consent, Kieran says, his voice ringing clear across the clearing. I choose Mira Chen as my mate, my partner, my equal. I choose to share her with my brother, not from obligation but from love. I choose this bond with all I am and all I will ever be. I consent, Damon echoes. I choose Mira Chen as my mate, my anchor, my home. I choose to share her with my brother, not from necessity but from trust. I choose this bond with all I am and all I will ever be. Both men look at Mira. Her turn. I consent, she says. Her voice doesn't waver. I choose Kieran and Damon Thorne as my mates, my partners, my pack. I choose both of them, not because a curse demands it, not because a bond forces it, but because my heart knows them. Because my wolf recognizes them. Because I want to build a life with both of them, not half a life with one, but a whole life shared between 2. She squeezes their hands. I choose this bond with all I am and all I will ever be. The magic surges. Mira gasps as power floods through her, silver and black, wild and controlled, 2 distinct forces merging with her own golden magic. The bond that was incomplete now seals, locks into place, becomes unbreakable. But the ritual isn't finished. Sacrifice last, Victor calls from outside the circle. His face is drawn with worry. The hardest part. The magic will test you now. Will demand proof of your love. What kind of proof? Mira asks. The answer comes not from Victor, but from the stones themselves. They flare with light, red like the moon, red like blood, and suddenly Mira isn't in the clearing anymore. She's in darkness. Absolute, crushing darkness. And she can hear screaming. Kieran, she shouts. Damon. Mira. Kieran's voice comes from her left, anguished. I can't reach you. She's dying. That's Damon, from her right. The magic is killing her. Mira looks down. Her body is fading, becoming translucent. She can see through her hands, can feel herself dissolving like mist in sunlight. This is the test, she realizes. The magic is forcing her to choose. Save her. Kieran is shouting. Take my life instead. Let me die so she can live. No, take mine. Damon's voice breaks. I'm the exile, the troublemaker. The pack doesn't need me. Take my life and let them both survive. Both brothers begging her to let them die. Both of them willing to sacrifice themselves. And suddenly Mira understands. This isn't about her choosing between them. It's about all three of them choosing each other. About refusing to accept death for any of them. No. Her voice cuts through the darkness like a blade. I refuse. I refuse this test. I refuse this choice. The magic recoils, surprised. You want sacrifice? Mira continues. Fine. I sacrifice my safety. My comfort. My old life. I sacrifice the easy path where I choose one mate and fit into neat little boxes. I sacrifice tradition and law and every rule that says this bond can't exist. She reaches out in the darkness, feeling for the brothers' hands. But I will not sacrifice either of them. I will not accept a choice where anyone dies. The curse demanded death, one brother killing the other, the mate dying of grief. I say no. We all live, or we refuse the bond entirely. You can't refuse, the magic whispers. It's not a voice, exactly, more like the stones themselves speaking. The ritual must be completed. Then completed on my terms. Myra's hands find Kieran's and Damon's, solid and real despite the darkness. 3 lives, bound together. Equal partners. No hierarchy, no sacrifice, no death. That's my offer. That's what I'm willing to die for, the chance for all of us to live. The darkness pulses, considering. Then light explodes through the clearing. Mira is back in the stone circle, still holding the brothers' hands. But something has changed. The bond that connects them is visible now, golden threads of magic winding between all 3 of them, creating a pattern that looks like a triad. Victor breathes. She actually did it. The threads pulse with light, sealing into their skin. Mira feels power flooding into her, not just from the bond, but from the earth itself. From the stones, from the moon, from the ancient magic that Moira wove into her curse 30 years ago. And she understands. Finally, completely, she understands what her grandmother intended. The curse was never meant to be broken by death. It was meant to be transformed by love. Love strong enough to rewrite the rules, brave enough to demand the impossible, and generous enough to share rather than possess. Moira didn't curse the twins to destroy them. She cursed them to save them, and her granddaughter, from a pack culture that valued tradition over change, law over love, death over growth. The blood moon reaches its peak. The red light bathes the clearing, and Mira feels her wolf surge forward. This time, she doesn't resist. She lets the transformation take her, trusts the bond to guide her through. Pain and pleasure, breaking and becoming, death and rebirth all rolled into one moment of absolute transformation. When it's over, Mira stands on 4 paws in the center of the stone circle. Her fur is midnight black shot through with veins of pure gold. She's smaller than the brothers, more elegant, built for speed rather than power, but there's no mistaking the magic radiating from her. Kieran and Damon have shifted too. They flank her, silver and black, and when all 3 wolves lift their heads and howl, the sound echoes across the mountain like a declaration. We are pack, the howl says. We are triad. We are unbreakable. The pack joins in, 23 voices harmonizing with 3, accepting what tradition said was impossible. And somewhere, Mira imagines, her grandmother is smiling. They shift back to human as the moon begins to set. Mira is exhausted but exhilarated, wrapped in a blanket someone provided, flanked by her mates. Her mates. Plural. Forever. Victor approaches, and Mira tenses, waiting for judgment. But when he speaks, his voice is gentle. You've proven your bond. All three of you. The triad is complete, sanctified by the blood moon and witnessed by the pack. He pauses. You're welcome to stay. Mira blinks. But you said. I said you'd be exiled if you completed the bond. But that was before I understood what the bond really was. Before I saw how strong you are together. Victor looks at his sons. The pack needs change. Needs new blood, new ideas. Needs wolves like you who are brave enough to question tradition. You're saying, Kieran starts. I'm saying I want you to stay. To help lead this pack into the future. To show the younger wolves that tradition can evolve without destroying what makes us strong. Victor's smile is wry. Besides, someone needs to keep Elena's faction in line. Might as well be the three wolves who just rewrote the rules. Daemon laughs. You're asking us to be leaders? I'm asking you to be yourselves. That seems to be revolutionary enough. Mira looks at Kieran and Daemon. Through the bond, she can feel their uncertainty, their hope, their love. What do you think? I think, Kieran says slowly, that for the first time in 30 years, I'm not afraid of the future. I think, Daemon adds, that maybe being exiled wasn't the worst thing that ever happened to me. Because it led me back here. To you. To us, Mira corrects. She takes both their hands. All three of us. Whatever comes next, we face it together. The blood moon sets. Dawn begins to break over the mountains, painting the sky in shades of gold and pink and hope. And in the center of the stone circle, three wolves who were never supposed to exist stand together, bound by love, strengthened by sacrifice, and ready to write their own story. The curse is broken. The prophecy is fulfilled. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe, like and share this video to continue listening to this type of story daily and also, to appreciate this community too. I would like to hear your wonderful opinion about this story. Please comment below.